YouTube, what is going on? Welcome back to another Identity 5 video. Again, I apologize if I have not been posting for a while. I've been very busy with ICL. Fuzion is currently in the top 3 of ICL, so that's very exciting. And we have some big matches coming up this weekend. So, by the way, if you guys want to stay posted about that, don't forget to check out the ICL Discord server in the video description below. But yeah, I've been really busy with that, so I haven't had a lot of time to upload. But a lot of you guys have been asking for this one, and I'm going to, as soon as ICL is over this weekend, I'm going to be back to posting videos regularly. Today's video is going to be Season 16 Hunter tier list with the inclusion of Breaking Wheel and, you know, kind of where he is in the meta, where he is in the tier list, and how he will be used in future tournaments and rank, etc. Again, I'm going to try not to keep you guys too long for this sort of video, because I do usually take way too long because I talk non-stop. And you guys know that I like to talk, so we're going to try to not talk as much, but I probably will end up talking way more than I need to. We are going to have 5 tiers today for this tier list: C tier, B tier, A-, A, and S tier. Without further ado, let's get into the first tier, which is C tier. And the first hunter in C tier, and unfortunately the worst hunter in the game still currently, is Ember. Now, Ember, this is pretty self-explanatory. Ember's chase early game is very, very weak. It is very hard to win against Ember against a good team. Okay, now the problem with Ember, specifically, again, is that he gets kited and rotated. He really has no map pressure early game whatsoever, so a good communicating survivor team will rotate this dude pretty much just the whole match. It's really hard to do anything about it as a hunter. And additionally, his early game chase is very, very weak. He has no abilities to really help him chase, other than those flames once he's been stunned a few times. So as long as you literally just have to pallet spam an Ember. They never bring pallet breaking speed. You have to bring insolence and detention on Ember, so you cannot afford to go for something like pallet breaking speed. So in reality, all you have to do is pallet spam a Ember, and you will kite him 100 plus seconds. I mean, unfortunately, it's that simple. Don't try to loop an Ember. Just literally pallet spam that dude, and you will kite him. So Ember, for the most part, is the lowest C tier hunter in the game because of his early game chase. Once he has that presence, he is not a bad hunter. Once you have those puppets, you're able to like throw them across the map. You create a lot of map pressure. You're very versatile, with getting around and camping at the same time. You can leave a puppet on the chair. You can leave the chair, go harass a Cypher machine, and when a survivor gets near the puppet, you can simply teleport back to that puppet, switch places with the puppet, get back to it, and you have very strong camp. If you have a flame available to you as a Ember, you have 2 flames. You could flame the puppet, drop a phantom, and then you have three people camping one chair. Kind of OP. Unfortunately, a lot of the puppets are dumb. They're very dumb. All you have to do is tap the puppet to cancel its flame ability, and you can actually juke the phantoms, which the hunter Ember already kind of sucks. So making it so you can juke the phantoms makes them even worse. So, we probably shouldn't be having that. Maybe the devs could do something about that. I don't know. But in reality, it doesn't really matter. The biggest thing is Ember's camp is still very strong. He has very strong camp, and he has very strong full presence in late game. He can literally put puppets on either ends of the map on both exit gates, and whenever a survivor goes to the gate, you can teleport to the gate and open it. If you are a trump card Ember, you can teleport to your puppets. So if a survivor starts to take down the puppet, you can switch to trump card and teleport on that puppet and push them off the exit gates. You can also bring claustrophobia if necessary to help yourself secure a tie because of your great late game pressure. And I'm spending way too long talking about Ember, but yeah, just because of that, guys, Ember and his early game chase is really bad, and he gets rotated. He is the lowest hunter in C tier. The next hunter in C tier is Percy, Undead. Now, Undead has always been kind of a weak hunter. When he first came out, everyone's like, oh my god, Undead's so broken, like, how are we supposed to kite him? His abilities are broke. Well, but people kind of overlooked is like, oh, well, he can't share people. So the Cypher Rush is just going to be beyond anything we've ever seen. It's going to be insane. I mean, you literally can down someone, but it's just sort of like, okay, well, we don't have to, and the survivors are just like, okay, well, we don't actually have to stop rescuing, or stop decoding to a rescue. They can just go self-heal themselves. They can rescue themselves at no cost. And we can just keep Cypher rushing. And if you have a mechanic on your team, it's GG's because the person can't control Cyphers enough. And the problem is, people take so long to bleed out. Even with Percy and having that, increased bleed out time, it still takes a while. It still takes longer than if you were to chair someone and then rescue. Well, actually, I'm not really sure on the exact math, but trust me, it takes a very long time. Now, the only upside to Percy around that factor is that, Percy doesn't have to camp. You can down someone and then you can go after somebody else. And that can slow down the Cypher Rush. But in reality, Oh god, I'm tired. I need to take a nap. I've been getting up at 6 a.m. for work every day. So that's kind of the biggest issue with Percy is that, you know, he just slugs people. You can't share people, and you can simply just self-heal and keep decoding. So that's the biggest problem is that, you know, again, you can't share people. And additionally, you can literally crawl out the exit gates. If you get the exit gate open, you can crawl out because you have your increased crawling speed against Percy, and the Percy cannot do anything about it. You can also crawl to dungeon. It's impossible pretty much for a Percy to get a 4-person elimination. It's technically possible, but it is very, very, very difficult, and it's a lot easier for the survivors to get. The survivors are way more likely to get a 1 escape than the Percy is to get a 4K under any circumstances. So Percy is pretty much not tournament viable whatsoever, just due to the fact that he's a loose hunter, and he cannot get 4-person eliminations. And in tournaments, 4-person eliminations are key. Moving on to the next hunter in C tier, that is Clown. Now, Clown has, when Clown first came out a long time ago, he was a very good hunter, he was S tier, and he just sort of fell out of favor. And in reality, Clown is very hard to play, because you need very good controls, and he takes more control to play than Breaking Wheel. I mean, Breaking Wheel, you need really good controls, but Clown, you need insanely good controls. And only, like, the really, really good Clowns can do it. The only Clowns that have actually been successful on our server that I can remember are Mystic and Ghost Queen. There's probably a few others that I'm not thinking of, but those two are the most well-known, if I'm not mistaken. So, and there probably are others out there that I'm not saying, so I apologize for not mentioning you, because I am clueless and I don't remember things very well. So my bad. But anyways, the biggest issue with Clown is that he gets another Cypher Rush character. Clown takes a long time to actually set himself up. He has to walk around, walk up to a Cypher, pick up 3 parts. If there's a mercenary on the team, pick up 3 parts, put all 3 of them on, and then dash around the map. If you find someone at an area with a strong window or pallet like Shaq, you cannot catch them, so you are forced to leave. And it really takes a lot of time. You can rotate a Cloud. Yes, he's fast early game, but you can still rotate him. And again, if you get him stuck at an area with like a really strong window, like for example something like a mini boat windows or Shack window or whatever, Shack church window on Red Church, it's just so hard for the Clown to actually do anything, and they literally have to leave you and go find a new target, which promotes rotation. So Clown's biggest, a Clown with really good controls can get it down in a reasonable amount of time, 60 to 80 seconds of the start of the match. But that's not great, I'm gonna be honest. So that's the biggest issue with Clown. It's harder to rotate him, but his chase is not that good. Once he has full presence, his dash is very fast, then he has good chase, but up until then, he gets kited early game. He takes a long time to actually get it down early game. He can double hit rescuers with a slow drill, which slows down Cypher Rush, but he is a heavy, heavy tie hunter. It is very, very hard to actually secure wins with Clown, and that is why he is a C tier hunter. And for the most part, unviable in tournament gameplay. The next hunter in C tier and the final hunter in C tier, this may come as a surprise to you guys, or maybe not, I don't really know, is Ripper. Now, Ripper is just very, very weak. He has, very, very minimal cipher control. The biggest, thing you can do with Ripper is, once you down someone and you have your invisibility and your speed, you can go up to a cipher, drop a peeper, and then go back to the chair. I mean, okay, sure, that's not bad. You drop a peeper, slows down decoding a little bit, but it's never really enough, right? Now, while Ripper has pretty good chase, you can hit those Foggy Blades. Ripper is a kind of hunter that can actually get an insta-down. If you catch someone lacking in the open, you can get a Foggy Blade plus a regular hit. But it is very hard to do, and most survivors are not that dumb. Although, you'd be surprised what I've seen in my ranked matches, but we're not going to talk about it. Anyways, no, I'm just playing. I'm just messing with you guys. But basically, Ripper is very weak in that he does not really have cipher control. Yes, his chase is not bad. You can Foggy Blade survivors through walls. If you hit your Foggy Blades in narrow areas, you're doing good. Once he has his presence, he's very strong in terms of chase. He's very, very fast, invisible, and has Foggy Blades available to him every 20 seconds. However, again, Ripper does not have very good camp compared to some other hunters. It is very, very, very hard to stuff someone as Ripper. You actually have to cut them off from a distance, hit the Foggy Blade, and then, hit them a second time. Because if you hit the Foggy Blade while they're going for the rescue on chair, they have enough time to still make the save. Okay, sure, maybe you can double hit the rescuer if you're lucky, but you're never going to be able to actually stuff a rescue if the survivor makes it all the way up to the chair. That's why something like Gamekeeper is pretty strong against Ripper, because Gamekeeper can get all the way up to the chair. Even if he eats the Foggy Blade, he makes the rescue. He gets a speed boost from taking the hit from the Foggy Blade. You can sometimes avoid the Ripper's hit and avoid getting double hit. So that's the biggest issue. So Ripper can double hit rescuers. His chase is alright, but he can get rotated, and he does not have very good cipher control. It is very minimal at best, and that is why he's currently a C tier hunter. The best hunter in C tier, but currently C tier, and not too viable in tournament gameplay. He could technically be played like 5th round in a finals, in a best of 5, but it is very unlikely. Moving on to the next tier, which is B tier, and this hunter actually moved up from C to B tier, and that is Geisha. And the reason why is because, I don't know if you guys know, but there was a top Geisha player from China that's recently been playing on our server. I believe they're the #1 Geisha currently in the North America European server. And after seeing how they play, and how effectively they can actually play the hunter Geisha, it's really made me kind of rethink Geisha a little bit and say, okay, well, this hunter has very good chase if used properly. I think the biggest issue is that a lot of players don't use Geisha properly, and she's very unsuccessful in our server. But, you know, when I've seen this Geisha play, they're very, very strong with them, and they're able to secure wins the majority of the time just because of their game sense involving Geisha. So Geisha's chase is actually very good. It is hard to kite a Geisha with the butterflies. A good Geisha, you know, is very good at mind gaming, very good at chasing, and is very hard to kite. Now, Geisha's cipher control in camp is not very good. That's the biggest issue, is while she has very good chase and can get survivors down pretty quickly if used properly, she really has no stuff potential. She can do the jump up and the drop down effect, but against a good survivor, they will never really get baited by that. You know what? I actually did get baited by that on stream once, and we're not going to talk about it because that only happened once. You get it once, get it out of the way, and it never happens again. Yes, I like to tell myself that. Oh, I guess we'll have to see. Anyways, again, a good survivor, not me, would have been able to, is able to avoid those hits and not get stuffed. I've only been stuffed by it once, guys. Don't worry, I'm not that bad. Kind of. So Geisha has very minimal camping potential and very minimal cipher control. Now, this Geisha, the Geisha player from China actually makes their cipher control a little bit stronger than you would from a normal Geisha. And what they do is they chair someone, they jump up, and they throw a butterfly at the closest cipher, and then they go harass that survivor, decoding that cipher. And then once they get a hit on that survivor, they will teleport back to the chair with their teleport trick. So they play it like a double teleport Wu Chang almost, and they can slow down the cipher rush, which is with better chase. It's a double teleport Wu Chang with better chase. Now, not quite as strong because you can't really jump scare people, but you can still play it similar to that, and it's pretty strong. It's pretty strong, and that is why Geisha, in my opinion, is now a B tier hunter. The next hunter in B tier is Lizard Lucino Evil Reptilian. Lizard has always been a very weak hunter, always been in C tier, but recently I've kind of evaluated, I've looked over it a little bit, and talked to a few people about it, and they think Lizard's not bad. And I have to agree, Lizard is not bad. He's not great, and he's not even that good, but he's not bad enough to be in C tier. And the reason why is that Lizard has pretty good map pressure in that he can actually jump around the map pretty easily once he has his full presence. He has 3 jumps available. He can get around the map pretty well. He's similar to something like the Geisha and similar to something like the Wu Chang, in which you have that very good mobility throughout the map. He also has pretty good camp as well. It is very hard to dodge the lethal crash ability when camping. The radius is very large. You have to actually bait the Lizard, and a good patient Lizard rarely will get baited by that, and they can actually stuff rescues. So while it may be kind of difficult to stuff a lizard, or to save off of a Lizard, that is, what am I saying? It is difficult to save off a Lizard, and that is why he is, I think, in B tier. He has pretty good camp, good map pressure, and a good Lizard can get downs quickly once they have reached that first presence with that lethal crash ability. Now, the biggest issue with Lizard is they get kited early game. Lizard does not have any chase abilities in the early game besides his jump, which isn't really that good. It's similar to that of a Geisha, except just a million times weaker. You can jump over pallets, Geisha can dash over pallets, but I mean, Lizard's is just way worse because you can see it coming, whereas Geisha, they can do it really fast. So again, the biggest issue with Lizard is that his early game chase is very weak. Now, the difference between him and Geisha and why he's slightly better is that he actually has the potential to double hit rescuers or stuff rescuers because his camp is very strong. Because of those things, Lizard, while he may have very weak early game chase, he is a very good camper and has very good map pressure, and that is why you actually bring peepers on most Lizards. Because of that, you can pressure ciphers easily. You can jump to a cipher, drop a peeper, go back to chair, easy. And that is why Lizard is a B tier hunter. Oh man, I'm losing my breath already, and we're only 14 minutes in. Okay, let's get through this. The next hunter in B tier is Gamekeeper. Now, Gamekeeper used to be terrible. Okay, I think we knew that. Gamekeeper used to suck. But now he actually has his traps, which makes him a little bit better. I wanted to actually put him in C tier originally, but a lot of people convinced me otherwise. Gamekeeper is a middle B tier hunter. And you know what else also convinced me was PP Shot actually managed to tie ZQ. Tie ZQ with Gamekeeper. I mean, if you can tie ZQ with Gamekeeper, he's got to be not that bad, right? Like, he's got to be a pretty good hunter. So Gamekeeper's a pretty good hunter now because of that. Yeah, China proving us wrong. Yay. Okay. So Gamekeeper has good chase, right? He has those traps, which you can use, to immobilize survivors. You have that hook with a very broken hitbox. I think it was nerfed slightly, but it's still very strong. It can still do like 45-degree angle turn grab thingies. Yeah, because of that, Gamekeeper, I mean, he's not bad. He can also force rescues after half. If you go to save late off a Gamekeeper and you cut it close near the line, he will hook you and he will pull you back far away from chair, and once you get pulled back by the hook, you actually get slowed down a little bit. Your movement speed is decreased for a short period of time, which means you have to run all the way back to the chair, and it's very hard to actually make the rescue before half against a Gamekeeper. He can also terror shock you with the hook. So if you come too close, if you get to the chair too late, they'll just pull you back and force the rescue after half. If you get there early and try to go for a save, they'll try to terror shock you with their hook. Now, if you can bait them to get the hook on chair, good for you. But it's not like a regular rescue. Normally, when you're going in for a save off a hunter, you can look behind you when you rescue, see when they're going into their attack animation, and pull off the chair to prevent yourself from getting terror shocked. However, against a Gamekeeper hook, while they can hold up the hook, they throw the hook just so fast, you can't react. So you really have to, you gotta get lucky sometimes. Gamekeeper is a very luck-based hunter sometimes, I will admit. Now, Gamekeeper can get rotated. That is another downside to him. However, a lot of Gamekeepers will just carry up-down teleport, just to prevent any sort of rotation in tournament gameplay, at least. And additionally, once Gamekeeper has full presence, he can infinite hook. As long as he keeps hooking a wall until he misses a wall or hooks a survivor, he can keep hooking, which is pretty broken. I wouldn't say broken, but very, very strong. And that is why Gamekeeper is a middle B tier hunter. The next hunter in B tier is Photographer, Joseph the Photographer. Now, Photo Boy is very underwhelming. And I'm sorry to say this. I'm sorry for you Photographer players. I'm sorry, Azrael, but he's very underwhelming. Now, don't get me wrong. Okay, a good Photographer is hard to beat. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Photographer is a hunter with 4K potential. Now, we look at this in a lot of different scenarios, right? You look at a lot of different hunters, and you're sort of like, okay, well, this hunter is a tie hunter, or this hunter is a win hunter, or this hunter is a 4K hunter, whatever, right? The difference between the difference between Photographer and a lot of other hunters in this game currently is Photographer actually can be a win hunter. Now, he is more of a lose hunter than anything, but he can be more of a win hunter than some of the tie hunters currently in the game. That probably made no sense. Hopefully it did. We'll see. By that, I mean Photographer has the chance to actually 4K hunt, a good survivor team, whereas something like a Bonbon really does not, because he gets Cypher Rush. Photographer is anti-Cypher Rush. As we know, once that photo world ends, the Cypher decoding progress is reduced, which slows down the Cypher Rush, and Photo also has that jump scare factor, which really forces the survivors off of Cypher machines, and kind of keeps them scared and away from Cyphers. So, because of that, Photographer he's higher B tier. He's not C tier with these other, C tier, bad, unviable hunters. He is alright. Against a team with good VC, it can be very difficult to beat, though. That is the problem. However, if you can find a lot of survivors in your opening photo world, you're in a very good spot, and that's what makes Photographer very luck-based. He's very, very luck-based, very luck-based hunter. Now, a good Photographer will know spawns, by the inch for the most part, so they're actually going to be able to check in all those little nooks and crannies and find the survivors hiding. However, again, it is lucky depending on where the survivor hides if you actually see them or not. So if you're able to find a bunch of survivors early photo world, you're in a very good spot. You can set up those survivors to be one-shot by injuring them in photo world. You can share them to slow down the decoding progress, force a heal, maybe if you're lucky you find them. And yeah, but if you don't find anyone in your photo worlds, you're going to lose the game because you will get kited. Photographer has really zero chase, I'm going to be honest. Fast vaulting speed, fast pop breaking speed, but no chase abilities whatsoever. So, besides maybe the card trick once you have full presence, but A good survivor can also cut that out sometimes. So you'll have to, you got to get lucky with photo, I'm going to be honest. But if you get lucky with photo, you'll win games. So, you know, if you want to take the chance, be my guest and go for it. Next hunter in B tier and the final hunter in B tier is Spider Soul Weaver. Now, Soul Weaver, I think as we all know, Soul Weaver used to be S tier, and then she got nerfed, 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 and then boom, 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 she became really not as good. The devs were just like, let's just kill this hunter and never make her viable again. So she got nerfed pretty hard, unfortunately, and she's always, it's been a while since they touched her, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a few seasons, but when they did touch her, they nerfed her pretty hard. Now her webs recharge very slow, and I'm sure this is pretty common knowledge because she's been like this for a while, but she still has very good chase. Spider can't get rotated, but the upside to Spider is if you do find a survivor eventually and you haven't been chasing anyone, you'll have a whole bunch of webs to just go off, and you can kill that survivor instantly. So if Soul Weaver gets rotated and you bring teleport, you teleport on a survivor, you have a bunch of webs stocked up and ready, and you can down that survivor instantly because your speed is insane. You catch up to the survivor, down them really quick, you have quick attack recovery with your webs, and it's very hard for the survivors to actually kite you at that point. So Soul Weaver is a very good hunter if you need a tie. She can get it down quickly even after getting rotated, and she can secure ties. She does have that web shot. If you're a god at web shots, like, you know, Cats or Fafa, then you can actually hit survivors across the map. But it's very hard to do. So yeah, because of that, Soul Weaver, again, very good chase if you have those webs saved up. Decent camping in that she can, you know, deal 3/4 damage to a rescuer. Yeah, for the most part, that's what makes her a high B tier hunter, is that she is very good if you need a tie. There are better tie hunters, but it is very, very difficult to actually win as Soul Weaver. And again, that is why she's B tier. She gets side rush very hard. Moving on to the next tier, that is A- tier. We are 21 minutes in, and we're only not even halfway. I need to speed this up. Okay, look, the next tier is A- tier, and the first hunter in A- tier is Mad Eyes. Now, some people told me you should put him in B tier. Some people think he's still high A- tier. Mad Eyes was nerfed pretty hard, and the survivors are able to decode consoles quicker now. I think the energy lasts a little bit shorter. I'm actually not even sure, but I do know it was nerfed pretty hard. I talked to Jeff a little bit. Jeff the Mad Eyes. For those of you who don't know Jeff, he is one of the best Mad Eyes on our server, if not the best. I would say probably the best. Him or Pilly, very, very good Mad Eyes players. Those are the two best for sure. But yeah, Mad Eyes was nerfed pretty hard, and it makes it very hard to actually be successful with him now. I think a lot of Mad Eyes players will give up and play other hunters as well. We'll have to see, but yeah, there's not much to say about Mad Eyes. I don't play him. He's very complicated. I don't really know how to explain him very well. You know, Mad Eyes doesn't really have any chasing abilities. Some Mad Eyes will bring Hunt and Blink, and they'll just use Hunt to down hit a survivor and then blink them for the kill, and then choose their fences for camping. Once you get an actual down a survivor, Mad Eyes has very, very good camp. In that you can use those fences to block off the rescuer, prevent the rescuer from coming in. You can harass the Cypher machine with the fences to slow down the Cypher rush. He has very good Cypher control. But all the survivors have to do is empty the console, and it's very hard to actually harass the Cyphers at that point. So now that the survivors can empty them consoles quicker, it can be very hard on the Mad Eyes, and that's why he's low A- tier. There's not much to really say besides that. For any of those, you know, if any of you guys play Mad Eyes, let me know your thoughts on it in the video description below. I would really like to hear about it. Again, I'm not an expert on Mad Eyes. I shouldn't really be analyzing him that well because I don't know him very well. Because I've never, you know, really played him and been successful. It's very hard to play this hunter. So, again, if you are a Mad Eyes player, let me know in the video description below what you think about the nerf. If you have any insight you'd like to add, be my guest. Please go right ahead. But yeah, moving on to the next hunter in A- tier, that is Violinist. Violinist is, he's a, how do I say this? He's used to be very good because survivors didn't know how to kite him, but, you know, once survivors are, you know, have figured out how to kind of juke the notes more effectively, and he gets kited a little bit more than some of the A tier hunters, so that's why he is A-. The notes are a little bit easier to dodge. If you can force hits, that's good, but he's a very slow hunter as well, which means he gets rotated very hard in some circumstances, but he is definitely viable in tournament. We saw a little bit in Koa and a little bit, did we see in Koa? I think we did, and a little bit in IVL as well in China. I don't think we've seen any in our ICL so far. I could be mistaken. No, there was one. Yeah, there was one Violinist match, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, anyways. Violinist has decent chase, but if you can dodge the notes, force regular hits, you're in a pretty good spot. He's very slow, that is the problem. Once he has his presence, he can throw notes to slow down survivors, which can be pretty strong. And, you know, that's not a bad ability to have at all. The survivors can slow down quite a lot, and it can really mess with them for sure. And then once you have that full presence, you have that infinite... I don't know the exact name. Infinite Melody. We'll just call it Infinite Melody. I don't know. That's probably not what it's called. But basically, you can push out the note. This is very good for camping. If you miss your note on the survivor, you can literally just leave the note there. They go for the rescue, and you push the note, hitting both survivors, and then hit the rescuer for a double hit. And that can be very, very strong. It is dodgeable, of course, but it's very hard to do. It's very hard to dodge when you're going in for that rescue. And especially if you're getting rescued off the chair, it's very hard to dodge at that point as well. So, Violinist full presence is very hard to kite, and it's very hard to dodge and rescue off of. But you actually have to get to that full presence first. And that's why we've actually seen some Violinists use Insolence. I do know Zeus, TVC Zeus, has been using Insolence and Detention with Teleport. He's been a top Violinist on our server for a while, so he definitely knows what he's doing around that. But I would say that that's definitely something you can try out. I don't really know. I'm not a huge fan of Violinist myself. A very fun hunter to play, but unfortunately is A- tier and is viable later rounds, 3rd, 4th, 5th round for sure. The next hunter in A- tier is Feaster. Now, Feaster's nerf hurt him pretty bad. I'm going to be honest. I hate to say it, guys, because I love Feaster. I literally was a Feaster main last season. I played Feaster all the way up to Hydra, and I love Feaster. Feaster is so much fun. But the biggest problem with Feaster now is that his hitbox kind of sucks. It doesn't suck. It's still pretty big, but it's not as good as it used to be, and that really messes with a lot of Feasters. On top of that, you get tentacles. You basically have less tentacles to work with throughout the game, because once you get to that presence ability, you don't get that extra tentacle that you used to get, which I think should not have been changed about him. I think they should have nerfed just the tentacle or just the hitbox. But they nerfed both, which I don't agree with, but oh well. It's not up to me. So, because of that, Feaster is no longer A tier. He is an A- tier hunter now. And yeah, he's just, you know, Feaster can get rotated. He's a very slow hunter, can get rotated very, very well. He can get kited as well in the early game. Still has very good camp. You can use your tentacles to find where the rescuer is coming from, cut them off from a distance and hit them. Then you have a tentacle waiting on chair. You can throw the tentacle down when they reach the chair. You have your triple berserker on Feaster, which means you have increased attack recovery when a survivor is on the rocket chair. So again, you cut them off from a distance with a regular hit, and then you throw it on the tentacle when the survivor reaches the chair, and you can stuff the rescue or double hit a mercenary that way. Even if the survivor manages to make it to the chair, you can tentacle them and then hit them once they go in for that rescue and get a double hit. So Feaster has a very hard time stuffing survivors unless you cut them off from a distance. But if you manage to cut them off from the distance, you can get a stuff sometimes. And I would say those are the biggest things around Feaster. He doesn't have any sort of real map pressure other than once you down a survivor, tentacles spawn next to every survivor, which means they have to take a few seconds to remove them. So that's a little bit of cypher control. That's not too bad, but overall, not the best. And that is why Feaster is an A- tier hunter. The next hunter in A- tier is, and the final hunter in A- tier is Bloody Queen. Now, Bloody Queen is, Bloody Queen used to be S tier. Then she was nerfed where her mirror image takes less time. It is available less time when being used, and then the recharge time is now 15 seconds instead of 12. So, and because of that, she dropped to A tier. And I think just recently, there have been hunters like Anne that have surpassed her and pushed her down to A- tier. Bloody Queen is still a very good hunter if you need a tie. But it is very, very difficult to actually win as a Bloody Queen. Just because that mirror recharge time takes so long. And even if you get 2 straight mirrors to down someone as a hunter, you will still tie the game. It just takes too long. I mean, 15 seconds cooldown, plus 13 seconds for the mirror to run out after getting that hit. So that's 28 seconds. It's a 60 second. It's almost 60 seconds. So you take that's a 56-second guaranteed kite for the most part. Not quite guaranteed, but you get what I'm saying, right? So Bloody Queen. Again, and then her mirror takes time to recharge after that. Plus, having no camp potential, she can't stuff rescues for the most part. So, it's just very hard for Bloody Queen to actually secure wins. Again, very, very good if you need a tie, but very hard to actually win with. Because of that slow recharge time. You can camp a chair and mirror a cipher to push the survivor off of the cipher, which will slow down the decoding progress. And if you're lucky, sometimes you can snipe the survivor and get a free hit. But if you're near the chair, The survivors can actually see if the Bloody Queen's mirroring. If you're in a 4-person VC, these survivors can tell their teammates, oh, the Bloody Queen's mirroring middle. Watch out, right? And you can just get off of the cipher, and it's very hard for the Bloody Queen to actually get that mirror hit on you. Sure, it slows down the decoding progress, but it is a Bloody Queen, so it's very difficult for that to actually be, too effective. So, because of that, Bloody Queen is an A- tier hunter, the best hunter in A- tier, but A- nonetheless. Moving on to A tier, 7 hunters left to go. We're making pretty good time, I guess. I think. And the first hunter in A tier is Wu Chang. Now, in Japan, they actually put Wu Chang in, like, D tier, which is weird. But in China, they had Wu Chang between A- and A tier, so I want to go with a low A tier on this one. Wu Chang is not a bad hunter by any means. The biggest problem with Wu Chang is he gets kited in the early game. Against a team with good communication, it can be very hard. Sorry. I'd be on. Again, not getting a lot of sleep. Wu Chang can be very hard to actually win with, just due to the fact that he can get kited early game. He can't really get rotated as well, because you can teleport on survivors, and it's hard to outrun him, essentially. But the biggest problem with Wu Chang is that he can avoid... survivors can avoid, getting hit by him, right? And he can get kited. White form has a very long hitbox, which can be very hard to kite sometimes, but it's not great. Black form has a very fast hitbox, but it's very short. And that's the biggest issue, again, around Wu Chang because of those things. So, if you're in a 4-person VC, you can simply tell your teammates, oh, the Wu Chang's teleporting, watch out. They can run to a pallet and camp the pallet, he teleports on you, throw the pallet down, and you're gone. Just like that. Yeah, that's the biggest issue, again, with Wu Chang, is that survivors, can simply have good callouts. Say when the Wu Chang's teleporting, get off your ciphers, and avoid getting hit. Now in rank, Wu Chang is very, very strong because you have very limited communication in Legendary Rank Mode Tier 6 and above, because you can only play duos. For those of you who don't know, once you hit Alicorn, you're not allowed to play a 4-person team anymore. You can only play 2-person teams, because then it becomes too favorable for survivors. So that rule is in play to prevent any sort of unfairness towards hunters, and yeah, basically. Once you get to that tier, again, you can only play duos, that's basically a lot harder for Wu Chang, or for survivors to go against a Wu Chang, because all they can do is say hunter change targets. And if the randoms listen and get off their ciphers, then great. You can still beat the Wu Chang. But if they do not, and they continue to decode, the Wu Chang will get free hits, and that can be very, very hard as a survivor team to beat a Wu Chang that way. And if a Wu Chang knows their spawns, they can teleport to the spawn and sometimes get a free hit as well. So that's something else to keep in mind. Because of those things, Wu Chang is a low A tier hunter. He has good camp, in that if you soul siphon the rescuer in white form, you can prevent the rescue. And potentially even stop the rescue. If you cut off the rescuer from a distance in black form, you have very fast stack recovery, then you bell them right after you get that hit, and you can stuff rescues that way. But it is very hard. You cut the rescuer off from a distance, you can hit them, then teleport back to the chair, and stuff them or prevent them from rescuing that way. Because of those things, Wu Chang is pretty good camp. Wu Chang also has some of the best map control in the game, because he can teleport almost anywhere on any map. Some maps like Moonlit River Park can be very big, and you can't reach certain areas, but you can get very close. You can get around the map every 30 seconds, you can just teleport. Pretty broken. It's like having a teleport every 30 seconds, except you can do it wherever you want. That's pretty good. Additionally, once Wu Chang reaches full presence, the ability activates immediately. The bell activates, and the soul siphon activates immediately. Now, Wu Chang was nerfed, so when you get that full presence, you teleport on someone and you use that soul siphon effect. It's now 11 meters, I believe, instead of 15, which is, I don't know if that nerf was necessary. I know some people, I think in China, were complaining about it. I'm not entirely sure, but I guess it could be worth it. I could get around it, but. Yeah, because of that, Wu Chang is a low A tier hunter. Not great early game chase, especially against teams with good communication, but does have good chase once he has presence, has good camping potential, and has very good map control, and that's why he's a low A tier hunter. Alright, we're getting there. Next hunter in A tier is Bon Bon. Now, Bon Bon was nerfed in that, once you go in for rescues against a Bon Bon, the bombs no longer cancel the rescue, so the rescue animation, so the rescue still goes through. And additionally, you can only get bombed every 1.2 seconds. If you take a bomb hit from a bonbon, you cannot be bombed for. You're immune for the next 1.2 seconds. So that sets up plays where a lot of bonbons would like drop a bomb, and then drop another one, and they wouldn't chain them. They just have them blow up like simultaneously. Consistent. Whatever. I can't say the word. Every second they blow up. So you drop a bomb, you'd hit someone, and then another one would hit them right after, and then you hit them again for the stuff. Basically, you just drop a bunch around the chair and not have them chained. You just have them lined up, basically. You no longer can do that because Bonbon can only deal bombs every 1.2 seconds. You also can no longer go like, 100, the survivors at half health, you get a chain bomb hit, then immediately timer bomb them right after. The timer bomb will not register because that has not been 1.2 seconds yet. So you actually have to wait a second, and that can be very difficult as a Bonbon to get down. So Bonbon's chase is not quite as strong as it used to be, and his camp is not quite as strong as it used to be. Still a very strong hunter, still has good camp, very good chase. But again, the biggest problem with Bonbon is his Cypher control. He is a very, very good hunter for securing a tie, one of the best for securing ties, but has a very hard time winning just because his map pressure and Cypher control is very weak. And that is why he is an A tier hunter. The next hunter in A tier is Axeboy. Axeboy has surpassed Bonbon because of Bonbon's nerf. Axeboy is good. He has a lot of things going for him. He has good chase, good camp, good control in that he's very fast and get around the map very quickly. Basically, we'll run it down real quick. We'll give it a rundown. So Axeboy has those flames, which you can pull them to damage the survivors. If you miss, you get an insane speed boost, which allows you to catch up the survivor and hit them. So that's pretty broke, but whatever. I'm not really complaining. I'm actually starting to play Axeboy recently. I think he's very fun, and I've really enjoyed playing him. But yeah, anyways, once you leave the corrupt area, you get those 2 purple flames surrounding you, which they follow you everywhere, so it can be very hard to dodge sometimes. But a good survivor is able to dodge them. However, the Axeboy still gets the speed boost, which can make it so he catches up the survivor and still gets the hit. If you're a survivor, you really just want to avoid the flame hit altogether and force a regular attack recovery hit. Because Axeboy's attack recovery is so slow, you can make a lot of distance because of it, which is pretty good against an Axeboy. Now, Axeboy's camp is also very good in that, if you pull a flame, survivors can dodge them. It's hard to get a stuff with an Axeboy, although it is definitely possible. A good Axeboy is able to do it, actually, more often than you'd expect. But essentially, with Axeboy, you pull the flame. If you land the flame on the rescuer, and then you can hit them again and get the stuff on the rescue. If it's a mercenary, you can double hit them. Stuff like that. So, because of that, Axeboy has pretty good camping potential. Once you reach that full presence with Axeboy, he has that effect. When you leave the corrupt area, the survivor gets slowed down significantly. As a survivor, I absolutely hate this. When I play Axeboy as a hunter, I think to myself, this is absolutely broken. I love this hunter. When I play survivor and this happens to me, I think this is absolutely broken. I hate this hunter. So I love him when I play him. I hate him when I go against him. And a lot of people complain about the corrupt zone. Once you have that full presence, they think it should get nerfed. You shouldn't be slowed down like that. But in reality, I think it is kind of fair. I think the only nerf they could give it is once you leave a corrupt zone, you can't get slowed down by another one for the next 5 seconds or something. Because I know some people, like a Ford, for example, will football through a corrupt zone, leave it, and then football through another one and leave it, and he'll get slowed down twice or something, right? And I think maybe there should be a slight immunity from those corrupt zones once you leave it once. You shouldn't get slowed down for a short period of time. But besides that, I think Axeboy is very balanced. You can use those paths once you have that presence to chair a survivor on someone else's Cypher machine. You down a survivor, use the path to speed up and get to a Cypher machine, get to a chair near a Cypher machine, chair them on the Cypher machine, and slow down the decoding progress that way. So that's a pretty good ability to have as an Axeboy. Because of that, Axeboy is a high A tier hunter. Moving on to the last hunter in A tier. Sorry, one more thing to mention on Axeboy. He did get used a few times in IVL, in KOA, and ICL. He's been used in a lot of things. I think also IVC, Japanese Championships. He's a very viable hunter. Second, third, fourth rounds. Usually second and third. He's in viable round 2 if he needs him. I think Afu, one of the best hunters in the world, probably the best sculptor in the world, uses him around 3. So there's just a good example right there. Moving on to the next hunter in A tier, and the last hunter in A tier, and the best hunter in A tier, that is Anne, Disciple. Now, Disciple she used to be very bad, probably C tier, but over time she has grown to be one of a very formidable hunter, the best tie hunter in the game currently, and actually has win potential. Disciple is very, very difficult to kite. Once you get those cats on the survivors, you jump on them, stun them, and get the hit. It's very hard to kite out a cat. It's very hard to dodge the cats as well against a good Disciple. Now, of course, it is possible good survivors are able to do it, but good Disciples rarely miss their cats, and they rarely get their cat kited out. The biggest way to counter it is essentially you have to like vault a window or throw a pallet down and then kind of just make distance so they can't jump on you and stun you. They can stun you through the pallet, through the window if you're close enough to the window of the pallet, so you got to watch out for that. But in reality, yeah, it's very hard to kite out a Nan cat if you get catted. And her cat cooldown, the difference between an Ann and a Bloody Queen is her cooldown is 10 seconds for the cats, whereas Bloody Queen is 15. So that is kind of a downside. Additionally, the Ann can cancel her cats. If she misses the cats, she can simply just cancel them. And any survivor that's got catted, you know, of course, that is the ability. If any survivor gets catted, their abilities are canceled and they cannot decode. However, you know, if the Ann misses the cat, just cancel them instantly. And your 10-second cooldown starts up immediately. If Bloody Queen misses a mirror, you cannot restart your mirror. You have to wait for that 13 seconds of mirror to run out, and then you have to wait for the 15 seconds for the mirror to come back. So if you cut out one mirror against the Bloody Queen, there's a good chance the Bloody Queen is tying or losing that match. If you, you know, you kite out a cat or miss a cat as an Ann, you're still pretty fine. You can still use the jump to catch up to the survivor. Maybe you can still get a hit if you're lucky. You can cancel the cats, get the cooldown going again, and that's very good. On top of that, Ann also has camp, which is something Bloody Queen does not have. So while Ann technically has equal chase, but gets her cats back quicker, which makes it, I guess, slightly better. She also has very good camping potential. In that Ann can actually stuff rescues or double hit rescuers. What you do as an Ann is you send your cats out, split them. The rescuer comes in, you put the cross back on the chair, hit the rescuer, the cats come back and stun them while you're in your attack recovery. Stun the rescuer while you're in your attack recovery. Your attack recovery goes off. The survivor's still stunned. You hit them again for the stuff. Or the double hit if it's a mercenary. You know, or a double hit if they manage to make the rescue, you can still double hit them. Or hit the person that was rescued, whatever you want to do. So Ann is a very, very good tie hunter with win potential. And that is why she's one of the most used hunters in China. She was used quite a lot in RICL, a lot in IVL, a lot throughout the world currently, just because she has win potential as a tie hunter and has very good chase. And that is why Ann is a high A tier hunter. Additionally, Ann is the best hunter for dealing with harassers. She can simply cap the harasser, cancel the ability, and they no longer can harass. It's that simple. And again, that's what makes Ann A tier hunter. And the best hunter in A tier. Moving on to the final tier here. Alright, we're over 40 minutes. We're not doing too bad. Hopefully we can get this thing done in less than an hour. Moving on to the final tier, which is S tier, the last 3 hunters in the game that we have not mentioned. The first is Sculptor. Now, some people would argue that Sculptor is a little bit better than Dream Witch now because of Dream Witch's nerf. I still think a good Dream Witch is very, very hard to beat. Whereas Sculptor is a lot more tieable. Now, the thing with Sculptor is that she has very good chase, very good map pressure, and very good camp. So, I mean, that's just like all the 3 things you want in a hunter, right? Starting off with their chase, Sculptor can use those statues to block off pathways, to chip survivors, to block off windows, pallets, whatever it may be, and the statues recharge very fast. In comparison to something like, I don't know, a Violinist note, 14 seconds to come back. 14 or 12? I think it's 14, right? Yeah, 14, I'm pretty sure. I don't play a lot of Violinist, so don't quote me on that. But Sculptor statues recharge very fast. You can also hold up to 3 of each of a vertical and horizontal statue, so that's 6 at one time. So Sculptor's statues recharge very fast, also faster than Bonbon's bombs, actually. And you know, when the Bonbon doesn't have full presence, the statues recharge faster. So that makes Sculptor have very good chase. You can also use the statues, you know, if the survivor gets caught on one, they can pull them back towards the Sculptor, which is also really broken. Once the Sculptor has unlocked her first presence ability, she can use that chisel and throw it anywhere on the map. So you can literally snipe survivors. You can push them off of the Cypher machines by chiseling them while continuing to camp at the same time, which is very broken, and it slows down the Cypher rush significantly. Additionally, unlike Bonbon, Sculptor statues actually cancel the rescue animation. So if a rescuer comes in for a save and they get statued while they're in the animation of rescuing, it will cancel the rescue and make it so you know, the rescuer has to restart their animation, and they will also take a quarter damage hit. If they already had a quarter damage on them, it'll cancel the rescue animation. The Sculptor will hit them and get the stuff, you know, get the stuff of the rescue on the rescuer. So Sculptor has good camp. Once she has that full presence, she is absolutely broken. Sculptors are the type of hunters that like to push for that full presence, so if you give them a chance to get full presence, they will. If you're a wildling, you jump on boar, they will hit that boar for presence. You want to try to get on it early. Also, the statues can cancel wildling boar, so you want to watch out for that. But they'll take the hit on the boar, they'll take the hit on a Gamekeeper shovel, they'll take the hit on a perfumer. Whatever it happens to be, they will push for that full presence because Sculptor's full presence is very, very strong. Once they get that full presence, they have target statues. And what those are is that when you put a vertical and a horizontal statue next to each other, the statue will go after the survivor closest. Now, they are dodgeable, but they're very hard to dodge within close range and in narrow areas as well. If you throw the chisel, on the survivor's decoding and use that full presence statue, you can kind of like snipe them off cipher machines. If they're at a quarter damage, you can literally snipe them from a distance, which is pretty OP. It's pretty broken. So that's really good. If you manage to deal 3/4 of a damage to a rescuer when they come in for that rescue, you can throw the chisel at them later when they have full presence and use that full presence target statues to knock them down while continuing to camp at the same time, which is pretty good. You can also use it late game to camp both exit gates. You can literally go to one exit gate, push the survivors off of it and stand on it, and then spike the other exit gate and possibly snipe a survivor from across the map, which is very good. The chisel ability, if it wasn't for the chisel, Sculptor would be like B or A tier. I mean, she'd be like Bonbon, very good chase, very good camp, and she'd be a strong tie hunter because of that chisel. And because of those target statues as well being very, very strong, that is the difference between Sculptor and all the other hunters in the game, making her an S-tier hunter over these other tie hunters. And that is why she's an S-tier hunter. The next hunter in S-tier is Dream Witch. Now, Dream Witch is one of the best map control hunters in the game. If you leech that survivor, the leech will follow the survivor around until they are de-leeched, or the leech hits the survivor that was leeched. I think that's pretty obvious. Dream Witch, because of her nerf, is not quite as strong. You can no longer really get jump scares on survivors. Against a good VC, good communicating team, it's very hard to do that anyways. You're forced to go for more trapping strategies, trapping the survivor between the leech and the main spawn, and then patrollering them after. However, now because of that nerf, you can't really get the jump scares because when you're within 20 meters of the main body, you will get a notification showing that the main body is nearby. So you have to watch out for that as a survivor. And again, you can't really get jump scared anymore because of that. Let's see, what else? Because of that, she was nerfed. Also, every time she uses a trait, she cannot use that trait on any of her spawn or leech followers for another 20 seconds. It adds 20 seconds to the timer. So essentially, if you use a blink with one of your spawn followers, your other leeches cannot use blink for another 20 seconds. Which makes Blink Dream Witch not quite as strong anymore. Patroller Dream Witch is still very good. If you go for a double Patroller, it's fine. Because once you drop that first Patroller, you go and hit the survivor. 20 seconds will have been up, and then another one of your spawns or main body or whatever can use a Patroller. So that's pretty good. So Patroller Dream Witch is still very, very strong. Blink Dream Witch early game not quite as strong, but you can still switch to Blink later game and use Blinks to secure downs. Dream Witch has very good map pressure, and that again, you can leech survivors. The leeches will follow them around, and you can push them off of cipher machines. Dream Witch main body is very fast. You can simply walk up to a cipher, leech the survivor to push them off of the cipher machine, force them to de-leech to slow down cipher progress. That could potentially slow down 2 people from decoding. They may go and find another one of their players with a leech remover mark, and they'll take off the leech by with 2 survivors. They can also take it off themselves, but it takes way, way longer. So either way, the cipher rush is getting brought down significantly. Additionally, Dream Witch's camp isn't bad. If you have your leech follower, the leech of what usually happens is the Dream Witch will leech the survivor on chair, put the leech at a distance, and then they'll have the main spawn camp the chair. So they'll have like the leech hit the rescuer from the distance, and then have cut them off from a distance, and then they have the spawn follower waiting on chair to double hit the rescuer or stuff them depending on if it's a mercenary or not. And a lot of Dream Witches actually ban mercenary as well, because mercenary can actually go in for a second rescue for free against Dream Witch. Dream Witch is all about injuring survivors and making it so it's easier to get them down, and it's harder for them to rescue if they're injured. Mercenary is very good because Mercenary can still save against a Dream Witch while injured, and that is why Mercenary is one of the most common bans when playing as a Dream Witch. Because of Dream Witch's map control, you can literally, in a late game, if you have enough leeches in play, they pop the last cipher with 4 survivors up. You could even still win the game. You could still 4-man. I mean, it's just like, if you have enough leeches in play, and you have blink, you could blink someone with a leech, hit someone with the main spawn, blink someone with another leech. You could control all the exit gates. If they don't take off their leeches before they push for those exit gates, before they push for that end game, you can literally just drop your main body on one exit gate, have the spawn camp it, and then have someone else's leech camp the other exit gate. And there's nothing the survivors can do to get them open. Because of that insane map pressure and insane map control, Dream Witch is an S tier hunter and the second best hunter currently in the game. Now, the moment you guys have all been waiting for, the best hunter in the game currently, the first hunter in Ace tier, in S tier, and the best in the game. Now, I don't know what your guys' opinions are on this, but I guarantee you this is the truth, okay? Breaking Wheel is the best hunter currently in this game. I will argue this many, many, many times. Now, the only downside to Breaking Wheel is that he is weak on certain maps. Arms Factory is not the best map because he is somewhat map dependent. If you do not include the fact that he's map dependent on maps where he is viable, he is S tier. He is the best hunter in the game. Sacred Heart Hospital, Moonlit River, any map. The only maps he's not really he's not too strong on is Arms Factory because there's so many windows. But besides Arms Factory, and that's fine. If you have a Breaking Wheel and a Dream Witch player on your team, you use the Dream Witch player on round 1 Arms Factory, and if you use Breaking Wheel on pretty much every other map. There's an argument that he's weak on Church. Not really. He's not that weak on Church, guys. He's not that weak on Church. Graveyard, Wedding, any top broken, middle broken, bottom broken, back gate. God Palette. Even God Palette, a good Breaking Wheel can still spike you there. It is very hard to kite a Breaking Wheel. A good Breaking Wheel with good controls is pretty much impossible to kite. They will roll over you twice. It doesn't matter how many pallets you loop. A good control Breaking Wheel will still roll over you. They will trap you, and they will get you down pretty quickly. Breaking Wheel, again, very, very hard to be rotated. He is such a fast hunter early game. It is ridiculously hard to rotate him. The two best Breaking Wheels on our server currently, in my opinion, are All For One and Tyrone from Wii. I know I might have a little bit of biased opinion because one of them is on my team, but it is the truth. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm being just straight up with you guys. Breaking Wheel is the best hunter in the game. Because of that, it is, again, very hard to rotate a wheel, very hard to kite a wheel, and he has insane map pressure. He can literally go in his wheel, use the speed boost to get across. He can get across Moonlit River Park in seconds. That is literally unheard of by any other hunter in the entire game. Bloodykin cannot mirror that far. Wu-Chang cannot teleport that far with his umbrella. Exploit cannot speed over there fast enough. Geisha cannot speed over there fast enough. Whatever it may be, Reptilian cannot jump over there fast enough. Even Clown cannot dash that fast enough. Breaking Wheel can get across Moonlit River Park, the biggest map in the game, in seconds. He can, again, cannot get kited. His camp is very good. Once you have that full presence, you roll over the rescuer, you jump out of wheel form, you give the automatic spike because you have that full presence, and you can stuff rescues easily once you have that full presence. Once you roll over survivors and have your presence, you can snap them. What we call it Thanos snap, which you can instantly down them. You deal the damage, the spikes essentially get removed, and you deal the damage equal to the number of spikes on the survivor if they're within the radius of the snap. So you just have to be pretty close, and you get the snap off. So basically, you roll over them with the spikes, you snap them. If you have 2 spikes and they're at half health, they're just instantly dead, which is pretty OP. Breaking Wheels, chase is very strong, map control very strong, camp very strong, Cypher pressure very strong. You can literally a lot of hunters bring peepers on him. They'll go into wheel form, go off a Cypher. After a Cypher, maybe roll over someone, give a spike to them, force them to remove them to slow down the Cypher rush, and then go back to chair. Or they'll get out of wheel form, drop a peeper on the Cypher, head back. You can also play a slugging game with wheel. Once you get someone down and eliminated, you can kill a survivor, knock a survivor down, drop a peeper on them, go after another Cypher machine. And you can go back and forth between all of the Cypher machines, over and over and over. And there's really nothing you can do as a survivor team. Once you get in that point, the Breaking Wheel can go back and forth and prevent them from finishing that last Cypher machine. Even if you do 2 Cyphers, you can control both of them with peepers and his insane speed boost, because you can get back in that wheel form every 7 seconds once you get out of it. I think it's 7 seconds. Yeah. So again, a Breaking Wheel with good controls has very good chase, very good camp, very good map pressure, which is everything required to be a good hunter, and that is why he is the best hunter in the game and the first hunter in S tier. Additionally, he's the most banned hunter currently in China. If you guys don't believe me, believe China. He or she, I don't know, Breaking Wheel is the most banned hunter in China currently. And because of not only that, plus all those other very good things I've just said about him, again, he's very difficult to play. So if you are struggling to win with Breaking Wheel and you say, oh, he sucks, he's not S tier, that's just because you haven't mastered the controls yet. I'll admit, I haven't mastered them either. It is so frustrating to play Breaking Wheel. It is so hard to play him. But once you master him, he's the best hunter in the game, and he is the #1 hunter in S tier. That is going to wrap it up for the tier list, guys. We did it in under an hour. Yay. Oh, my God. No way. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you guys like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will have a Season 16 Survivor tier list with the inclusion of Toy Merchant or Toy Maker, whatever you want to call it. So watch out for that. Before you guys go, don't forget to check out the links in the video description below. That will be to the Fuzion Discord server, which is my Team Fuzion, and the Identity 5 ICL League Discord server. If you guys want to stay tuned about that, it is very exciting, so don't forget to check that out as well. Currently, the last 3 teams remaining in the league are Sus, Fuzion, and Legacy. We're in the top 3. Very exciting. So stay tuned for that, guys. Don't forget to check that out. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.